or Kim Crawford Illuminate Sparkle.
Treatment option.
Searching for their favorite.
Telling us about you want to hear more stories from the guys.
Famous.com. Some exclusions apply.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we have heard from so many of you guys all DMing us about you want to hear more stories from the guys that were on Joan's season of The Golden Bachelorette. Well, you're in luck because we are here with a mini series called His Story. We did this with the women from The Golden Bachelor. We're going to have a bunch of guys on, just talk to them about their experience on the show, what they got going on now. I know there's been rumors that some men from Joan's season are potentially dating some women from Gary's season. So we'll get all into that, and we hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, we are here with Jordan from Joan's season of The Golden Bachelorette. Jordan, welcome to Bachelor Happy Hour.
Well, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
I can't believe this is your first time here, considering you made it to hometowns and we haven't had the chance to chat with you yet.
Yes, well, that's why I'm glad we finally did it. Let's get to it.
All right, so
so
Jordan,
much to say.
Oh yeah, me too. Because all season I was watching you. I'm like,
not all season, like literally since when the headshots got released.
Yeah, I was like, I know this.
Right.
Man. So I'm going back and forth. I'm like, I feel like he may have worked at the Merc. But
and
then
Joe's
I'm like,
really, really good with faces.
And then I'm like,
so it's weird that he couldn't like place it.
So then I'm like, but maybe he probably just works out at East Bank Club, and I've seen him there. And then when it was your hometown, I saw your brother, and I was like, okay.
Merc,
Then I called up my cousin Louie, and I was like, hey Lou, do you remember? He's like, yeah, he's on the Golden Bachelor, Golden Bachelorette, whatever it is. I was like, oh, so yeah.
I can't believe that didn't come up earlier.
I know. So
yeah,
Jordan, you used to work in the Eurodollars, right?
Yeah. So I was in the Euros for a long time, and then I worked with your cousins, for 15 years, and Lou actually worked for my brother, which was a crazy. I know it was his
first boss.
It was his first boss was my brother. Which was also an interesting story to begin with. But you mentioned it when the cast came out. You're like, I think I know this guy, and I actually messaged you on Instagram. I'm like, we definitely have crossed paths, and because not just that, I've been, I go to Parlor and I see my girls with my girls, and we saw you at Parlor, and my girls were in love with you. Obviously, they had to go run up and say hi. I didn't run up to say hi to you, but my girls did, and then we saw you again at the basement one night.
Okay,
so. You're like, you've seen me, but you've definitely seen me around town.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Chicago's a small city.
It's a small city. Yeah. I always forget that.
I think it's big, but it really isn't that. If you're downtown, especially, it's not that big.
Do you remember when I was working for Louis? Do you remember that?
I don't remember you working for, did you also work for PAX too?
No, I traded in the NASDAQ pit.
He was like 18 though.
For 4 years, but I clerked for, I checked Louis' trades.
In the Euros.
In the Euros when I was, so basically like 17, I went down in the summer.
What's in the Euros? Like Eurodollars?
Eurodollar futures.
Yeah, Eurodollar futures.
Yeah.
Then I probably moved because the Euros got pretty thin up there with traders. I went down to the NASDAQ and the SPOOS.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, small world. Anyways,
that's crazy. I'm glad that we placed it though, because for so long
I was going to figure it out.
I don't know. I just thought it was like, oh, you must just work out at the same gym or something because you are so good with faces. But like the fact that it was just crazy. We're sitting on the couch watching your hometown, and Joe was like, "Oh my God, I've been saying this for 2 months, and I have finally placed it."
Yeah, because my two of my three brothers were there too, so we were, there's a lot of those family situations down at the Merc. You see a lot of the same guys. We all had darker hair then, but we're memorable guys for sure.
Yeah, it is a family workplace.
What was jumping a little ahead? Where was that rainbow cake? What is this cake?
When you come back, you have to get it. It's Goddess in the Baker, Goddess in the Grocer. I'm a big cake lover, and I try it wherever I go. And that rainbow cake, if you like that style, which is a heavy buttercream birthday cake style or wedding style, is absolutely phenomenal. Best there is. I've tried it all over the world. So
have you had the cake? Have you had the cake, the toasted coconut cake at Polo Bar?
No. Well, now it's on the schedule. Now it's on the schedule for this week.
You have to try it. It's delicious. Okay. It's really good.
It's not far too. I live right downtown, so it's close.
Where are you in the city?
I'm right in Streeterville, right on the across from Navy Pier there. Yeah.
Got it. All right. So, Jordan, how did you wind up going on the Golden Bachelorette?
So my youngest daughter signed me up. So this was pre-pandemic. She watched an episode, after one of the Bachelor episodes, and they said, and she, unbeknownst to me, sent in a few Instagram photos and a little blurb. And then, 4 years later, they contacted me. And I think like some of the other guys, I thought it was a gag. Like, who's calling me from the Golden Bachelor? I didn't, And then finally I said to my girls, I'm like, did one of you guys sign me up for this thing? And my youngest daughter, Jamie, said, I did, but it was 4 years ago. So, once I found out it was real, I was like, well, I'll play along. I'm single. So let's see where this goes.
That is wild. I applied for the show in the heart of the pandemic, and so did you. And It's just crazy how like the timelines unfolded.
Yeah.
Like she must have been like, I literally forgot I did that. It was so long ago.
Because when I said it, I go, did one of you guys sign me up? She goes, Dad, I did that. It was literally, we were still living together. It was 2020, early 2020.
Yeah. Wow.
So you look good. You skew on the younger side of the men that were in the house. What does golden mean to you? Like when you heard like gold, when your daughter signed you up for the Golden Bachelor, were you kind of like, oh, wait, I mean, when you'll get to this age, you're like golden. I'm like, in my head, I'm the same age as you. Like, that doesn't change. So to think of myself as a 61-year-old guy, I don't want to, golden is a walker and cane, playing shuffleboard at the old people's home. That's what it thinks to me. But hopefully we've changed that persona a little bit. We've changed that identity of what golden is supposed to mean. But there's still a lot of people out there. You think, I'm in my golden years. I don't like to think of the golden years. I just like to think it's kind of just the next phase. Golden years is another 20 years away. Yeah. I agree with that. And I think you make a good point.
Well, people are living longer and longer every year too. So it's like what 60 is now. So. I hope I don't live to 150. What 60 is now, though, is not what 60 was like 50, 100 years ago.
Oh, no, not even 30, not even 20 years ago, I don't think. It's just a lot different. But there are people who are old at 60, and then there's people who are, old at 40. It's just really a mentality. You have to it's the mindset of how old you want to feel and how you want to live your life.
Yeah. What do you do to help yourself feeling good and young and delaying those golden years?
Well, I still play a lot of sports with mostly, guys half my age, whether it's pickleball or, beach volleyball, and the gym. I live across from the beach. I'm with my dog every day. We take long walks, ride my bike. The Chicago lakefront is amazing. So I take full use of that. And there's a great gym in the building, yoga, whatever it is. I just try to stay active. I love being outside. I love being by the water.
That's good. What did you think of Joan when you first met her?
Well, when I first actually met her, I was in sort of a daze. The limo exit, that nervousness of that really took my breath away.
Okay, so let's go back to you stepping out of the limo. How does this go down?
So I was really nervous. My heart was racing. I was trying to calm myself. You have in your idea, you have in your head what you're going to say. And then
in your head, you think you're going to come across smooth, confident, like
charming.
Before I got out of the limo, I thought confident, cool Jordan. I'll slink up there and throw my lines on her. But once I got out of the limo, my heart was racing hard, and I couldn't even remember what I know. I think I said to her, like, you took my breath away, because I was having trouble even speaking, and I could not remember even what I said to her when I got into the limo, and I was just like, my life is over. I've just ruined this moment and no one will ever forget it. It's on TV forever in the reruns and streaming. But it wasn't as bad coming off, I guess, afterwards that it was in my head. Because in my head, I thought I was done.
It always
guys
feels
were coming in, and
worse.
I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. It feels way worse. I mean, that's what I mean. Same thing for myself. I was like, this is going to be horrible.
Yeah, I had a prop, which I feel like helps, because you go in like with a very specific, or at least I had a very specific like setup of what I was going to do, so I could kind of lean on that. If I had gone and just tried to talk, I would have been like, I have nothing to say.
Yeah, right.
But
prop is a good idea.
Yeah, I was also the first one out of my limo too, and I remember being like, this sucks. But also, if I had to sit in the limo and watch person after person go, I think my nerves would have just gotten
it just builds up the anxiety.
worse and worse and worse. Which number were you?
I was last out of my limo.
Okay, so you had to sit there and listen to everyone go.
Yep.
Yeah, that would make me way more nervous. I'm like, just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
So is Joan your typical type? Do you have a type of what you usually look for in a woman?
I don't know that I have a type specifically. It's more about an energy, I think. So Joan has great energy, and she's obviously really beautiful. And what attracted me to her was her, she's also super family oriented, which I'm all about my family. So, looks wise, she's great. Intelligence wise, she's great. Energy, I thought she was the full package without a doubt. So all the guys there, I think, kind of had the same idea that Joan was really spectacular, and that's why we were there.
Did you think far into the future, if you ended up with Joan, what you would do, live for your living situation?
Well, all the guys were talking about that, but I think early on, Joan let us know that she kind of had this idea of 3 lives. You keep your life in Chicago, I'll keep my life in Maryland, and we kind of create this 3rd life where we travel, we intermingle the children, family vacations, and that, I don't know, it makes sense to me. That's because no one's really getting up and leaving at this point. I mean, potentially you can winter somewhere, but you're not really leaving your family. Chicago, the roots are pretty deep here. Although I'd like to spend winters maybe somewhere else.
But would you feel comfortable in? I guess that would still be a long-term relation or a long distance relationship,
or part-time long distance, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it would need to be. It would be a new dynamic. You'd have to kind of work through it. I'm sure. Joan and Chuck are working through it now. It's not going to be the easiest situation, but I think love finds a way. I'm hopeful for that.
Yeah, we had dinner with them a few weeks ago, and they were in New York, kind of starting that process of creating, this next step for them. And I feel like there's pros and cons to any situation. Like, you might not get to spend as much time together, but you also don't have to uproot yourself from where you're living with your children, your current lives, and there is like an excitement. Do you typically date in Chicago, I'm assuming, though?
Yeah, for the most part, I've dated in Chicago. The girlfriends have been in Chicago. There might be, for a short period of time, someone of another city, but mostly it's been here. It makes, does make things a lot easier for sure.
This podcast is brought to you by Kim Crawford Wines. The holidays are here, and with them come the joy of gatherings, festive dinners, cozy get-togethers, and celebrations with loved ones. Trust me, I get it. And Kim Crawford does too. That's why they're inviting you to make every moment amazing this holiday season. That's what we call the golden hour. Whether you're catching up with friends, cooking your favorite meal, or toasting to the season, you can savor it all with a chilled glass of New Zealand's finest. Kim Crawford offers a vibrant blend of citrus, tropical fruit, and crushed herbs to make every gathering special. Because golden hour is more than a time of the day. It's whenever you choose to savor amazing moments with those who matter most. Visit KimCrawfordWines.com to learn more. That's KimCrawfordWines.com to find Kim Crawford wine near you. Savor amazing. For those 21 and over, please savor responsibly. Constellation Imports, Rutherford, California. Visit KimCrawfordWines.com to learn more.
I can't wait to get dressed up for the holidays in Abercrombie's new party looks. I've been loving and wearing Abercrombie for years now. They have everything you could ever need, from the best basics that will last you forever to elevated nighttime looks, which I feel like is perfect and absolutely needed going into the holiday season. There's nothing more motivating to make plans when it's cold out than a hot outfit. I'm someone that goes crazy for sparkles and sequins and getting compliments on my outfit. From dinner reservations to girls' night out, Abercrombie is setting the outfit vibe this season. Going into the holiday season, Joe and I have a bunch of different kinds of events coming up, and Abercrombie is going to be my one-stop shop for finding all of my holiday looks, whether I need something cozy to go ice skating in, or we have some sort of nighttime festive holiday party. I know that I'm going to be able to find everything that I'm looking for on Abercrombie. Make a night of it and shop Abercrombie's newest party looks online and in-store now.
You've been dealing with this for a long time. And after all you've been through, you know every treatment option matters. Find out more about Pluvicto, lutetium Lu-177 Vipivitide Tetraxetan. Talk to your doctor to see if Pluvicto is right for you. Learn more at Pluvicto.com.
Didn't you date the woman that was the singer that was on the performer?
yeah.
What was her name? Taylor
Well, I don't know that
Dane?
I dated
Taylor
her. I
Dane?
went on a date with her, which was
How did that
was
even
crazy.
happen?
Did she live in Chicago?
No, she was just visiting. She was just
Okay.
visiting Chicago. So that's I met her. I swiped her on an app, and you don't know it's Taylor Dane. It just says Taylor. I'm like, okay, Taylor. You wouldn't know what she looks like unless you're a big fan. And we met down by the river, a river walk. She's like, meet me for a drink, and so we met at a drink. And then she's got this big yacht that's just having a party on. So we went to the yacht, and we're right along the river, and there's a big parties going on. So it's great, meeting all these people. We go out. If you've been to Chicago, you take the boats out to the lake through the lock. And as we're doing that, we go through the lock. And right when we get onto the lake, the captain comes on board and says there's a big storm coming. We do not have time to go back through the lock. Everyone's got to get off the boat now. So we pulled over to the Chicago Yacht Club. And as that's happening, rain is coming, the wind is blowing, and people are literally running off this boat trying to find shelter. It just leaves Taylor and I as the last two people, and we're just running through the streets trying to find a viaduct to stay under. Then she realizes she doesn't have her phone. She left it on the boat.
Oh,
So
No.
it's crazy. And it was an incredible storm. We're running through the streets. I'm trying to find a cab or an Uber. We end up getting back to her hotel room. She's got no phone number. She's got nothing. So I'm helping her with my phone, trying to figure out her life, that she's, stuck here without a phone. And it just was, obviously in a crazy situation. We had just met. We were on this boat, and so we stayed there for a few hours, and said goodbye. We exchanged numbers. And then a few months later, she texted me, letting me know she was coming back to town for another gig. And, kind of that was the end of it until she showed up on The Bachelor.
yeah. What did she say when she saw you? Because she's obviously
Well,
never going to forget that
No,
date. It wasn't like you guys
it's
had
not like you
coffee.
just grabbed drinks. Like that's a
I'm-
whole
so-
thing.
So I'm saying I was hopeful. I'm like, I have to know if she remembers me because it was such a crazy night. So I went up to the producer there, her producer. I said, please don't let her just leave. I need to talk to her before she gets off the stage. And kind of the crowd knew because I was kind of telling the crowd the story a little bit. I kind of went on a crazy date with her. And then Joan found out, what was going on. So I went up and talked to her and I said, I'm Jordan from Chicago. Do you remember me? And she's like, yeah, we spent 5 minutes together. And that was it. But like I said, the guys were thinking maybe I was hitting on her. I'm like, I'm not hitting on her. I'm there for Joan. But just I had to know.
No, but
if
you
she
have
remembered
to
me.
be
And
like, hey, remember that time that we got caught on your yacht in a storm and you lost
that's
your
right.
phone? Like,
so it just
that's
was,
crazy.
the circumstances were so crazy that she had to remember. There's no way.
How long ago was that before going on the show?
Like 4 years.
Okay.
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 So enough time that you'd be like, does she remember me? But also, like, how could she forget
Yeah,
that?
I mean, we hadn't
Definitely.
talked really. We haven't communicated, and she's probably
Yeah.
been on several dates between now and then. So I was, you still never know. But it was the circumstances were so crazy that she'd had to remember.
That is so funny. Wow, that's a great story. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's jump into. So you are one of the four guys.
Yeah.
4 guys that go to hometowns. What was that experience like? Like bringing home a woman that you could potentially get engaged to, meeting your children, your brothers.
Yeah,
Nico,
it's a lot. I mean,
Nico is his badge, right? NKO.
there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, I
NKO.
remember.
So it's a lot to bring, my family, like, probably your families as well. 3 older brothers. All we do is, kind of bang on each other for fun. And so that was nerve wracking for one, because my brothers, we grew up fighting with each other in the fun way. They're strashing me all the time. And my daughters are everything to me. So it's really important for them to like her. It's a deal breaker if they don't like her. So there's a lot of there's a lot of nervousness there. And I hadn't seen my kids in, 5 weeks. And we talk every day, multiple times a day. So this, that separation, first they see me and they're crying and I'm crying and bringing Joan into the situation. It can't be easy for her because, she's kind of thrust herself in this little family situation. She's got to fit in as well. But the day went great. We laughed a lot. There were a few tears. We laughed a lot. My brothers grilled her a little bit. And I thought it was a fantastic day, it turned out. Sometimes a little bit of tough questions about relationships and where things have gone. But I thought it was a great day overall.
Did you think after that date? Did you think you were as far along as Chalk or some of these other the few other guys that were there?
I would say probably not. I mean, some of these guys, near the end, certainly Chalk and Guy were really expressing, outwardly, even with, within the group, expressing their open feelings for Joan. It's not typically the way I operate, one.
Yeah.
And there were some other circumstances. I'm a little more low key when it comes to that. So they might have been more vocal in their, real feelings towards Joan. I was probably a little bit more reserved in that, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I feel somewhat of a connection with you, but when like the Chicago thing or whatever, but like when you went home, I was just kind of like, this guy's fine. like he's all right.
Yeah, I mean, in general, yeah, of course I'm fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought, she seemed to be better. We talked about that. We needed more time. We started a little slow. We just needed more time. These guys were rushing to the finish line, and I was more like, this is the Jordan pace. This is not. I would need more time to get that over the finish line.
Do you think if you had more time, you could have ended up with her?
Yeah, certainly it's possible. It's really such a condensed courtship that you got to kind of throw everything out. And just this is what I want and go right forward. Otherwise, it's hard to get to that point, I think.
Yeah.
I'd ask you if you would be interested in Bachelor in Paradise Golden Edition, but we've seen maybe you're hanging out with someone.
Yeah, are you dating Leslie?
So no, I'm not dating Leslie.
We
So I
really
know
approached
came
that
out. We're
very
not
differently.
dating. We met at the tell-all, right after the tell-all. My friend had he's the president of LAFC Soccer Club, and he gave me a suite, and I offered it to any of the Bachelor people who were going to be around. We had this really nice suite, and Leslie was there with a friend. So a couple of Bachelors came, and then Leslie came, and then at some point we took a selfie, and that kind of blew up the Bachelor world for a little bit. No, she's great. We talk a lot. I think Leslie's amazing, but I wouldn't, we're mostly just good friends.
Okay. Not
Gotcha.
boyfriend, girlfriend type
We
of
are not
situation.
boyfriend, girlfriend. No.
So then would you do something like Bachelor in Paradise?
Oh, yeah, I would love it. First, I love the beaches. I mean, I always was like, that's the best, venue. Get on the beach and you're cocktailing more. There's more people to obviously interact with. We're not fighting for the same person, either sex. So I think it'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
I was going to say, as much as the filming time is much shorter and condensed for Paradise, you get significantly more time with the person that you're interested in, like way more time.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how little time you get, in the regular Bachelorette season. There's just not a lot of time to kind of break those barriers down.
Did you enjoy going on the show? Like being?
Yeah, I loved it.
Did you think you would though? Did you have any hesitation?
I was nervous.
before
Yeah,
going
no, I
on?
was even up until I really signed it, like the week before. I was like, I don't know if I want to expose my life like this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought the downside might outweigh the upside, but no. After the fact, we have this great relationship with the guys. You get to this exposure. I'm like 15-minute famous in Chicago. We walk around the streets. So when you come back, well, the three of us will be 15-minute
we'll go to
famous
Parlor.
in Chicago. Yeah, for sure.
I've
no,
been
it's
Parlor
great.
forever.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
Parlor's
We've
your
been
guy,
there
yeah.
this year for sure.
Actually, we were there in March.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there in March.
Yeah.
But that's
That's
because
just
you
fun.
guys were there and I met you there.
Yeah, I think I picked it.
I'm trying to think. Where did we go? We didn't really go. We were just back for Thanksgiving. We didn't really go anywhere.
We didn't really go out.
We went to
went to-
Guilt Bar.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for
Yeah.
dinner. But
Pascal and I and went to Bavette's a couple of weeks ago, and we were, it's fun to be treated like a celebrity once. We're at the peak of our, popularity, so it was really fun.
yeah, we'll all go out over Christmas. when
How
we're-
was
Oh, yeah.
hanging out with Pascal?
He's great. He's amazing. He's unfiltered like he is. He knows the city well, and we have a good time. We have a really good time together.
Before we let you go, what were your thoughts on the finale?
Well, clearly, like I thought she had a connection with Chalk early on. It was apparent to me that they had something. We all were fighting for that, but they seemed to have something extra. And I thought, Guy handled it well. I think he probably really was in love with her. And it's a tough situation. You go that far, and you're thinking you're the guy, and kind of get the rug pulled out from underneath you. But Chalk and Joan seem very happy. They seem very well suited for each other, certainly right now. And I think happiness is in the future for them.
Good.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we finally got to have you as a guest. And
Yeah, it was great to finally talk to you guys. I would love to continue it.
Yeah, let's connect next time I'm in Chicago, and I'll call Louis, and we'll grab
That'd
some
be
beers
great.
or
and
something.
Pascal.
Hi, Michael. Welcome to
Hi.
Bachelor Happy Hour.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
How's it going? Where are you located?
I'm just outside of Charlotte, and we had a little bit of winter last night, so woke up to snow on the ground, which is pretty rare down here.
Snow. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
cold does it get for the winters?
It's been in the low 20s this week. It's not much
Okay.
warmer than 35 out now. Yeah,
Okay, so
It's
it
like
gets
New
cold.
York.
yeah.
So, how did you wind up on the Golden Bachelorette?
Well, my son and my daughter-in-law applied. They're huge fans of the series, and you probably heard this from a lot of guys, but they really thought I'd be great on it, and they went ahead and sent an application. And unbeknownst to me, so I'm on vacation with my brother and some other guys, and I get this text asking if I was interested in being on the show, and I waited for the follow-up asking me to send $100 in Bitcoin to this number, but that never came. So I thought, well, maybe there's something to this.
What was your knowledge of the show before that?
Well, I had watched The Golden Bachelor. Again, they were huge fans, and they had suggested I check this out, see what the women were like on the show, and what the whole experience was like. And I was really impressed by it. I really liked it a lot and thought it was great. Then I watched some of the highlights of the Bachelor series, and maybe I walked that back a little bit. But at the end of the day, it was all positive, I thought, for the most part.
Before you went on the show, what was it like dating? What was your dating life like? Were you on the apps? What was the strategy?
Yeah, I was on the apps, and that's, that gets really stale. It's a dance that you're doing that involves not wanting to hurt people's feelings, trying to discern as quickly as possible whether there's any chemistry there, and not wanting to put yourself out there too much into a position where you need to pull back and walk away. In other words, trust has to be there. And that's a difficult thing to do with a bunch of strangers in any environments, let alone an app. I feel really bad for the women. That's got to be really hard because you've got the possibility of physical violence or whatever at hand, which guys don't have to deal with. So
Yeah, there's so many crazy horror stories about like creepos and murderers and cannibals out there on the dating apps.
I haven't heard anything about cannibals, really.
Yeah.
I've heard a few. Well,
Cannibals?
I mean,
Which
like,
one of your friends dated a cannibal?
no one
recently?
directly, okay? This is all through the rumor mill, so take it with a grain of salt. It might not be very true, but I just heard one recently about this girl that went on a date, and anyway, it was
Where'd
just...
you hear this, on TikTok?
No, through a friend. Anyway,
What's the
it was just-
profile name? Tastes like chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Jeez.
That
Crazy.
should be the first red flag.
We heard you had some health issues. Where are you right now on your health journey, and what's going on there?
Thank you. Yeah. So I was diagnosed with cancer right before I received that text. And I wasn't sure I wanted to continue with the process or not, but my son and my daughter-in-law kind of convinced me of it. My doctor I talked to about it, and he greenlit it. And so I went ahead and did it. It was prostate cancer. So I didn't bring that up on the Men Tell All because a lot of people hear that and they think, well, that's no big deal. But it can be. It can be aggressive. In my case, it was. And I was already being treated for it with medicine. And I'll be honest with you, the medicine that they give you when you have prostate cancer, and what it does is it basically puts the cancer into stasis so it can't grow, is what they call ADT therapy. And what that does is it removes all the testosterone from your body. So I was the first guy in the history of the series
Really?
to go on the show without any testosterone. I was really glad when I heard that Joan was not going to have beds in the fantasy suites because I was like, oh, that's going to be tough.
What is that? Can you explain how that feels when you lose all your testosterone?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It makes me much more sympathetic for women going through menopause because one of the side effects is you get night sweats. and you wake up and every half hour or so you throwing your sheets off because you're literally drenched in sweat. Aside from that, I mean, I've lost a lot of muscle mass. And in addition to that, you get moody and you get depressed, and you've got to be really careful about putting weight on as well. It can have really serious side effects if you're on it for too long. I just went off it about 3 weeks ago, so I'm raring to get the testosterone back and get back up. So, yeah.
So is that what happens? Does your testosterone come back once you're off?
The medicine I'm on, it comes back pretty quickly. So good. Within a few weeks, it should be at least at baseline. Yeah. So
where's your health at now? And then moving forward, it sounds like you're progressing well if you're coming off of the medication.
And the prognosis is excellent. And again, it was aggressive, but also caught early. I had to go through a couple surgeries and some radiation, but I think 2025 is going to be a great year.
That's
good.
Great.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Good to hear.
Wow.
Better, I like a little positive energy. We started talking about cannibals. I didn't know which way this podcast was gonna.
You know what? There's a lot of crazy people out there.
This podcast is brought to you by Kim Crawford Wines. The holidays are here, and with them come the joy of gatherings, festive dinners, cozy get-togethers, and celebrations with loved ones. Trust me, I get it. And Kim Crawford does too. That's why they're inviting you to make every moment amazing this holiday season. That's what we call the golden hour. Whether you're catching up with friends, cooking your favorite meal, or toasting to the season, you can savor it all with a chilled glass of New Zealand's finest. Kim Crawford offers a vibrant blend of citrus, tropical fruit, and crushed herbs to make every gathering special. Because golden hour is more than a time of the day. It's whenever you choose to savor amazing moments with those who matter most. Visit KimCrawfordWines.com to learn more. That's KimCrawfordWines.com to find Kim Crawford wine near you. Savor amazing. For those 21 and over, please savor responsibly. Constellation Imports, Rutherford, California. Visit KimCrawfordWines.com to learn more.
I can't wait to get dressed up for the holidays in Abercrombie's new party looks. I've been loving and wearing Abercrombie for years now. They have everything you could ever need, from the best basics that will last you forever to elevated nighttime looks, which I feel like is perfect and absolutely needed going into the holiday season. There's nothing more motivating to make plans when it's cold out than a hot outfit. I'm someone that goes crazy for sparkles and sequins and getting compliments on my outfit. From dinner reservations to girls' night out, Abercrombie is setting the outfit vibe this season. Going into the holiday season, Joe and I have a bunch of different kinds of events coming up, and Abercrombie is going to be my one-stop shop for finding all of my
Jiamlu 177 Vipivitide Tetraxetan.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be the first guy to faceplant on that driveway.
So let's jump a little to the show. Your time on the show. So let's jump a little to the show. Your time on the show. Just like stepping out of the limo, what was going through your head in that moment, and yeah.
I didn't want to be the first guy to faceplant on that driveway. First of all, I will tell you this: before we even pulled up, we're wondering what the holdup is. And we got out to stretch outside of the limo, and there's a horse galloping down the street. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And we only found out later that one of the contestants, David, had brought a horse in, and he had escaped. So this happened right before our limo pulled up. But I was afraid of face planting. I think I'd over. That probably sounded pretty canned to her, but at least I got through it without fainting. And then I went in and ordered a stiff drink.
How did you feel about living with a bunch of guys who probably are loaded up with testosterone at that point?
Yeah, they are, but they're older and wiser, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't know that about me. I kind of kept that to myself. Look, these guys were great. I think the producers, everyone says, well, these guys, this was a natural, organic bonding experience. And it was, but I also think the producers had the sign out in front that said no jerks allowed, because I couldn't snuff out one. And they seemed to, like, universally a bunch of really good guys, including the ones that left that first night. And I always feel bad for them. I only stayed through the second ceremony myself, but the guys who left early, it must be kind of rough to go through all the vetting in order to have that end like that. But they're all good guys, I thought. And I really loved getting to know them. And listen, a short period of time as I was there, I formed bonds with these guys. I had dinner with Pascal and Jordan not that long ago. I'm going to see Jack when I go up to Chicago to visit my kids for Christmas. And, I'm hoping that I'm lifelong friends with some. Chuck's kids, Taylor and Tyler, brought food over for me not that long ago. They live in Charlotte.
That's so nice.
Your kids live in Chicago? I'm from Chicago.
Yeah, they do. That's where I'm from. Yeah, Chicago area. Yeah.
A lot of Chicago guys on your season.
What area are you from?
I'm from Naperville, which is a western suburb of Chicago.
I'm from Melrose Park.
No kidding.
Yeah.
My son's living in, he's living in Oak Park right now. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I stay with. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Melrose Park. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Oak Park. Right there. I'm literally right next door to Oak Park.
Yep.
That's crazy. Okay. So then, being on the show for a short time could be a blessing. It also was pretty rough. I was only on, I went home night one. Why do you think you went home week 2?
Yeah, I've thought about this a little bit. At the end of the day, there's either a spark there or there's not. And she's got a lot of guys that she has to plow through pretty damn quickly. So, if the chemistry, if the spark wasn't there, even in the short period of time you're together, I used to say when I went on these dating apps, you could tell within 5 minutes if you're attracted or interested in someone or not. And I'm guessing that she probably wasn't with me. The only thing I've looked back on and maybe I regret a tiny bit is that I could have been more authentic. I could have been more myself. I was probably overly concerned with presenting myself in the best possible light instead of just being me. So if I had to do it over again, I'd do that. But maybe that buys me another week. At the end of the day, it's not going to move the needle much, I don't think, And that's okay.
I think it's also really hard when like I feel like I'm somewhat of a reserved person, and when you are and you go on these shows and then you have so many big characters, it is hard sometimes to stand out because there's just so many guys and people are very aggressive, and it's easy when you are a reserved person to just kind of like lay back and be like, all right, well, let the chips fall where they fall, kind of thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I had conversation with Mark and one other guy because I kind of sussed out that we were the 3 or 4 introverts. And I was wondering what it was like for them. Because for me, I felt, like I was walking among giants in terms of personalities because you had Gary there and you had Jack and, these guys were Charles. These guys were extremely charismatic and I like to think in my own quiet way I am, but not, I don't land that way in a short period of time. It's funny. I can tell you're reserved. And maybe those of us who are like that can kind of see it right away. Yeah.
We get each other, even over Zoom. We get each other. Are you retired?
I am. I'm a retired community bank CEO. Yeah, I ran little community banks in Illinois. If you're from Illinois, there's a million little banks.
Yeah,
and that's what I did during my career. Yeah.
What are your thoughts? You mentioned Bitcoin. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin?
On Bitcoin, I think it's going to blow past 100K. I think that's a given. Whether it gets to 500 or 1 million, some of these guys are calling for. I don't know. I would definitely take some chips off the table as soon as it gets past 100, 110. Call it. That's
okay.
What do you think?
I think this cycle, which I believe we're currently in a bull cycle, I think I could see it going as high as 200 by March. But I agree, and then I think there'll be there's always a sizable pullback, but yeah, I mean, I buy into it. I don't know how high it will go, but everything's looking pretty promising at this point. So.
Agreed.
Yeah, totally. So
I know. I'm like, oh my God, let's get off this. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Joe loves Bitcoin. So what is next for you? Because you're retired, you've come off this show. What are the goals moving forward in the future? Are you dating?
Golden Bachelor in Paradise, of course.
Yeah, you would do it?
Would you do it?
Absolutely. I want my shirt on. Either that or I'd hit the gym for 6 months, just live there. I'd just move in.
You're not the first guy to come on and say that.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I would absolutely do it. I think it would be a blast. I don't think they will do it, but I'd love it if they did. I'd be all in.
I think they might at some point. Might be a little hard now because there's only been one season of Golden Bachelor, one season of Golden Bachelorette. But I think down the line there will be a time. I think a lot of people want to see it, and see the contestants that everyone fell in love with have another chance at finding love. Are there any women that you have your eye on? That
you were at the Mental after the Rose. Anything happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I got to meet some of the women of the Golden Bachelor. I had a really good time, and I've been texting a couple of them just on a friendly basis from time to time, and hearing back from them as well. I mean, we've all shared something really unique, so even on that level alone, there's some common interest there. So, and they're great. I thought they were terrific.
Watching the Golden Bachelor, I don't know if you watched the entire season or just some of it. Were there any women that stood out to you that you thought maybe you would be a good match with besides Jones?
There's a couple that might be that might be a good match for me. We'll have to see. I mean, I've met some terrific ladies so far. I'll name some names.
We need the names. Give us the names.
I know you do. I know. And now I'm blanking out on one of them.
Have you met Nancy yet?
No,
I have not met Nancy.
Yeah,
no,
too, so.
I think all the guys would like to meet Nancy. To be honest with you, but, yeah.
I know we're trying to set up Nancy.
Yeah, she's a beautiful woman, and she seems really grounded. So that's intriguing. Who's a really nice lady who's very sweet, and I think gets kind of a bad rap is Kathy. Very sensitive and easy to talk to, and bright. And we've been texting a little bit back and forth as well. I sat next to Sylvia. She was very sweet as well. I liked her. Sandra, I enjoyed talking with her. It was a party with a bunch of people, so it's tough to decide see whether there's any chemistry or not. At this point, it's a little soon.
How do you feel about dating? Would you date someone that lived in another state?
Sure. Yeah, I have. So, I would.
Okay.
I would not rule that out. Yeah. Listen, I'm living in Charlotte. My kids are up in Chicago, so I wouldn't be opposed to moving, to be honest with you.
Do you see yourself ever going back to Chicago?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay.
Grandkids are coming. That'd be a tough thing not to do.
What's keeping you currently in Charlotte?
My brother lives in Charlotte. He's the one that kind of dragged me down here after retirement. He's like, this is an awesome place to live, and you've lived in the Chicago area your whole life. Why not check it out? If you don't like it, or you miss your kids, move back. So, so far so good. I like it down here a lot. It's beautiful.
Nice. And then what does the upcoming holiday season look like for you? I'm
going back to Chicago. I'm going to hang with the kids. And like I said, I'm hoping to see Jack. Pascal invited me over too. I think Jordan, is out of town. But reconnect with those guys. And also my old friends and my kids as well. I'll be hanging and spending time with both my sons.
Where did you, Jordan, and Pascal go to dinner?
It was an Italian place, little Italian trattoria.
Didn't Jordan say it was Bovette? Do you guys go to
No,
Bovette?
that was just him and Pascal.
Oh, okay.
Really? They went to Bovette and they didn't invite me. Damn.
Yeah.
How dare they? Sorry, I just exposed them right now.
Yeah. Something, Sogno, Sogno, is that? I can't pronounce Italian.
So, Piccolo.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah, it's on the corner of Grand and Halstead, I think.
Pascal shows up in his DB8, his Aston Martin DB8, with the top down. And
that makes sense. Checks out.
Right? He gives me a big hug. He grabs me by the cheeks. He goes, Michael, you must live a more positive life. You have to live in the moment, my friend. This is the secret. This is what's going to make you happy. And then I watched this dude pull out in that car, and I thought, there's a little more to it than that. Man. I think if I was driving one of those, I might feel a little differently too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think positivity is just one aspect of his happiness.
I really dug that guy though. He's a hoot, man.
Yeah, he was fun to watch. He's definitely
Mr. Personality.
He's definitely a character. Lastly, what were your thoughts watching the finale and seeing the way everything ended up for Joan?
I think that Chuck got. I think that Chuck could have gotten a little. I think he was treated a little harshly, and I won't say it by the producers, but I would say certainly by the audience. And I spent a little bit of time on Reddit, and man, they can be harsh, and they've been really rough on him. And I know him a bit, and I know his kids, and he's a great guy and a great dad. And look, he fell in love. He fell hard and early, and he's also a competitive guy too. At the end of the day, that was the one that stuck with me. I'm glad that they're together, and I really think that it's genuine from the heart, and I wish them the best. But that was the one takeaway that I had that I would have liked to have seen gone down a little bit differently. Yeah, I hated to see Guy get hurt like that. Guy he's terrific. But he'll be fine. He'll be all right, I think, at the end of the day. Yeah. He's all right.
Yeah.
I think so too. You know what's interesting too is Chalk is getting, some flack for everything. But I've seen guys like fall in love and act very similarly to how he did with Joan on The Bachelorette when they're 20 something and not get any flack for it.
Well, yeah, but I feel like I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with the men when they're in their mid to late 20s, but they do like, remember,
I just think they're being harder on, like, I just think maybe there's a little bit of ageism happening here.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe those people are
they
going
they have a beautiful teenage fairy tale love. It's great.
They need it was a quiet season. They needed a little drama too.
Yeah.
Well,
Michael, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. We really enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully we see you again on our TVs.
Yeah, or our
love
podcast.
That. Thanks so much. Love talking to you.
Of course, it was great to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
And to all our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to Bachelor Happy Hour. Make sure you download and subscribe.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you're enjoying the holiday season, and keep tuning in because we have more exciting His Story interviews coming your way. Bye.
I can't wait to get dressed up for the holidays in Abercrombie's new party looks. There's